Alright, fair's fair. Time for a garden tour. We'll start at my 16-foot row gardens here. So here is mainly a carrot patch, and my garden is way more wild than yours, all over. So I do a lot of maximizing of space. So my carrots are growing like crazy all through here. They're really, over a foot tall, and I've already thinned them out pretty well to the point that I think this is just going to be good. So it's about a 4-foot carrot patch. I even have some sunflowers growing out of it. I'm growing some dwarf colorful sunflowers for there's a couple of friends at church who are getting married, this nice young couple, and growing those for their reception. So I've got tons of those all over the place. There's another one right here. Beautiful tomato. This is just like a early girl here that is just exploding out of the carrot patch. And planted it at just the right time so that it wouldn't be shaded out by those, but could explode out and use all the space. I've also got some beans planted through there. My next tomato, here's a nice lettuce patch, just overflowing with lettuce. And again, interplanted tomatoes. I got tomatoes planted every 4 feet or so in this bed. Back here, it's more bare. This was my spinach patch, but almost all of that has been pulled up in the last few days. So now I've planted a lot more peppers and things in here. Our few rogue spinaches that are still hanging out. We've got to not pull up the beans with them. Jeez. All right. Hang on to that. All right. But yeah, some of my peppers in here, some spicy, some sweet. Another, oh look at that little baby tomato starting to form on there. Nice. So yeah, I've got a lot of tomato plants over in this next bed. I did this one differently. Instead of 4-foot sections, I did long rows. So I've got 2 long rows of lettuce here. There was spinach running down here, and then kale on the outside. I've got a pumpkin running here, but as it gets bigger, I'll wind up this pole and trellis across here to make my tunnel of green. I love that thing. Last year it was just an absolute beautiful canopy. Now where I pulled the spinach up in here, I've got a lot of bell peppers planted in. A little bit hidden against the lettuces. I've got a bunch of pea plants here to, I don't necessarily think I'll get many peas from them, but give nitrogen back to the soil. That's mainly that garden. And I've got my back garden, and I'll take you across it from this side over. So here is one compost heap, because whenever I'm expanding out an area of the garden, I like to compost on it for a season first. So grass clippings, cardboard, weeds, all that getting tossed onto here, because my other compost heap is cooking down. This area here I'm going to be breaking up and using, planting more beans by the season here. Just trying to extend the bean season out and not get them all at once. So I'll be working from about here to over here, and mainly doing beans and some zucchinis. Here's my main well-spaced tomato patch. All right, and if we go right here to this red cage, you'll find our Ava Chocolate Special. Now it's doing all right. It's doing all right. Starting to get tall. I do have to come in and possibly take off a couple of the shooters off of here and trim it down, but I don't want to do that while it's still damp. There's my giant Greek oregano that comes back every year. There's a cabbage patch. There's a pepper patch back there with 9 of them, plus a little bit of lettuce over there. Some smaller peppers over here that were just more recently transplanted. Here is my I've got a lot of zucchinis all in here, and then I've got a bunch of squash planted as well that hasn't come up yet. It's my big compost heap that's really started to come down. It needs a good till up and turn over, and it'll compost even more. But I already used up, remember I showed you that big compost heap I had that was here. It was mounded way up, and I used all of that in all my planting. Here is my straw bale garden. This used to be a place where there was a shed, and the shed came down, and we were left with a concrete pad here, so I put these straw bales over it and composted those down with like some blood meal and things, so nitrogen and carbon would work together and plant directly into the straw bales. And this is their 3rd year. They're pretty far broken down, but they're still strong enough for me to plant in. I also have extra onions from last year that are growing, and I'm letting these just go to seed so I can collect onion seeds. All right, there's my giant horse poo pile. There's my lily. There's Luna. Gabby, get back in the yard. Gabby Grace. There's Gabby being naughty. Still have a few plants over here to plant, but not many left. And I've got my garden bins that are closer to the house over here. And you'll note I am horrible with my weed whacking, so don't judge me. But here I've got giant cabbage plants, the size of this thing forming. It's beautiful, beautiful. It's gonna be the size of a basketball. More lettuces, peas, broccolis. I recently just pulled up about 8 heads of broccoli. Might get a little bit more out of some of these, like this one, but not much more before these ones get retired and gives me more space for late crops. That's where I pulled up one. I planted one catnip that's not doing real great from the store, but I've also got some beans that are planted in here waiting for those to come up. There's a catnip that's doing real well. Over here, a lot more of the same, plus my giant romaines. These things are amazing. And you'll see I interplant a lot of onions in here all around the edges. They help ward off the predators here, or like the bunnies and things. Got a few tomatoes in here, not too many. More of those giant cabbages. This is thyme, more catnip, and then this is my garlic and onion bed mainly, but I've also got peas, a little bit of lettuce, some tomatoes, and there will be beans going into this as well, plus sunflowers. Mostly more of the same here. I did just pull up all my turnips yesterday, or not turnips, I keep saying turnips, they're radishes. More lettuce. As you can see, I've got a lot of peas in the back. A lot of peas. I love garden peas. Really starting to get lots of pods of those too. Then along the side of the house here, these are going to be mammoth sunflowers. And see how that does. I think that'll look kind of neat along the edge. Plus I've got zucchinis and the patches, the mounds where there's nothing yet. Yellow squashes will be coming up that are going to be in between all those. And lastly, my dwarf sunflowers here that are going to be many colors. And you can see when I plant flowers, it's in rows as if they're crops, but that's all right. And that's my current garden tour. Hope you enjoyed it in this almost 10-minute long video.